Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Joe Show. I'm your host, Joseph Decker, the number one high school basketball podcast in the state of Kentucky. This is our second show this week. We had a really good show this past Tuesday. I really want to thank everybody who showed support and tuned into that one. We had Gavin Lightning and Coach Montrell Irvin from Kentucky tune in, and it was just a really positive, great vibe show. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. Everybody got to tune in, and it was just a good show, man. You really can't beat that. You know, when you've got a great show where nobody's caring about how many people see it, nobody's caring about, well, am I in front of 1,000 people? You know, nobody really cared. We just got in there, we talked, we had fun, we had some good times, and a lot of people seemed to enjoy the show. So I want to appreciate everybody who tuned into that show and helped make it what it was. It was a great show. But tonight's going to be an even better one. We're joined by Wade Kramer of Holy Cross, senior this past season, who has took his talents to the next level, and we're going to talk to him all about that. We won't spoil anything too early. And then we have Ohio State commit Alex Smith, 2026 6'9" forward out of Columbus, Ohio. So we're going to have a big-time show tonight. We're going to be able to talk to these guys, pick their brains about some information, kind of getting to know about both of them. With us being a Kentucky podcast, you know, having Alex from Ohio would definitely be pretty cool. And then Wade, who was in Georgia last season. Some people still not familiar with Wade, but a lot of people got to see him this past season at Holy Cross and seeing what he was capable of. So it should be a really good show. Once again, I want to thank everybody who's tuning in here early. I'm making sure on my end I'm going and sharing it so everybody can see it and enjoy the show. So give me just a second. But in just one moment, we're going to thank all of our sponsors, man. Like I say every time, this show is not possible without our sponsors. They make everything possible. Let's start with our show sponsor, Detman Injury Lawyer. That is Brian Detman in Louisville, Kentucky. Then we have Grayville Funeral Home, Clark Acrotech Applicators, B Spring Auto Body, Tent Studio, CNA Plumbing, Laser at 270 Event Rentals, and then last but certainly not least, the guy behind the scenes, Ronald Scott Lindsay. I want to thank all you guys for sponsoring the show. Go to our social medias, especially my Facebook and Joseph Decker. We go into more of a deep dive detail about all of our sponsors and what makes them special. I've had some cool ideas. I wanted to think maybe we can do commercials with the guys, have a whole episode where these guys come on and talk about why they sponsor the show, what they do, because they can always give a little more information than I can. I have them send me a paragraph, but they can always just talk a lot more. Maybe interview the sponsors. That'd be something cool to do. But Detman Law Injury Lawyer is the best lawyer in Louisville, Kentucky. Man, he does great work from a slip to a fall to a car wreck. I say it every time. He does everything. He does it great hospitality, great human being. Thank you, Brian. It's been about 5 months now he's been on the show lineup. So that's really cool. Grayville Funeral Home is a local funeral home in the 3rd region in Edmonson County, Kentucky, right as you exit the Brownsville Bridge. That's Roy Grable, WKU superfan, I like to call him, longtime supporter of the show. Thank you, Roy, for your continuous support. Probably going on about a year now since we started the show. He's been sponsoring every way since. And Clark Agritech Applicators is a longtime friend of mine, Cooper Clark. Just 19 years old, man, another young entrepreneur doing great work out there. Cooper does some of the coolest work out of anybody that I've ever had sponsor the show or work with his drone work and the way he helps out farmers and sprays. And it's really cool to see a drone be able to do so much, man. We're really evolving. It's pretty cool. B Spring Auto Body is Arlen Blanton, longtime friend of mine as well in B Spring, Kentucky. Actually, kind of when you're about to get to the Grayson County line and you pass the sign, a lot of people local might know where that is. That's B Spring Auto Body in B Spring, Kentucky. They do great work. It's a clean, nice, well put together shop. They do great work. Everything always comes out great. And Tent Studios, longtime supporter of the show as well, Henry Mendez. What he does with tents and window tinting is truly 0 to none, man. He does the absolute best. He'll tint $1 million mansion, and then he'll do a Cybertruck the next week. The guy can do a little bit of everything. It's really cool to have him on here. CNA Plumbing, longtime supporter and friend of mine, Adam Coates, does the best plumbing in the local 3rd, 4th region area. Recently got his name out there as a sponsor on the WNKY. I thought that was pretty cool to see on TV the other day. So thanks, Adam, for sponsoring. Of course, Laser, it is Caleb Skaggs, longtime friend and supporter. All these guys have been around for a while. Caleb's special, man, with what he does with his engraving and the way he does these logos and the way he puts all these things together, whether if it's clothes, shirts, he does everything, man. I seen you doing cutting boards early in the year. He can do a little bit of everything. They 270 Event Rentals. If you want a tent, if you want chairs, if you want tables, if you want to make your event special at a low cost, get the right materials there, contact Jacob Howard and 270 Event Rentals. They've not been in business crazy long, but they're already doing really good. And thanks for letting me sponsor you guys early and get your guys' names out there. That means a lot. But thanks for all of our sponsors once again. I never want to hold people up too long, but I always want to show some love and give our flowers to our sponsors who make the show possible. Uh, Without further ado, though, man, let's get into the show. Like I said, our first guest tonight will be Wade Kramer. Played at Holy Cross this past season. He was at Georgia the year before, so we can definitely talk to Wade about a little bit of everything. So let's go ahead and get Wade on here, man. We'll update the graphic, get everything good to go. Wade, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
How's it going? Doing
I'm
good.
doing good, man. I'm not seeing you in a little while, so it's good to get you on here, man. Talk to you, kind of catch up a little bit. But Wade, like I said, man, for those that might not know Wade Kramer, I was saying it earlier in the show. Might have not got to see you before your season this past season, and maybe they didn't get to keep up with Holy Cross too much. Who is Wade Kramer? What makes Wade Kramer special on the basketball floor? And just tell us a little bit about you, man.
Well, I'm Wade Kramer, a 6'5" combo guard. With special, I'm a natural scorer and I can get to my spot on pretty much anyone. I'm a good defensive player, high motor. I'm going hard every possession. I want to win every single game, no matter if I'm playing at the Y against whoever or I'm playing in a big circuit game. I'm going my hardest every single time. I'm trying to score and do whatever's best to win.
Well, Wade, you recently made a big decision, man. Once you finish that senior season, you kind of got to decide, how am I going to pursue the rest of my career? And you decided to take a different route than some people. A lot of people will take the college route, but some people go post grad, some people go prep school, and you kind of went in that direction. And Wade, kind of tell us, you've decided to go the prep school route and take your talents down to Texas. Tell us about the school you're going to and what makes that location and that spot special in strength and motion.
Yes, sir. Strength in Motion was started by George Gervin. They're a bunch of hoopers, a bunch of dogs down in Texas. They play a JUCO D1 schedule in Texas, but it is in San Antonio, and it's just a place for me to go and set up shop and just grind and grind and grind every day for months just to better myself, because that's the main part about it. I'm a young 17-year-old senior. I'm going to graduate at 17. So it's really me taking my time and not rushing into anything to keep my eligibility and keep on getting better and better and better. Because if you're good, coaches will see you. You'll be there with all the internet and everything nowadays.
Yeah.
Just trying to better myself and get better is what I'm doing instead of trying to rush into anything.
Well, I 100% respect the decision, Wade. And one question I kind of got to ask about it, and I'm getting the question popped back up here, man. How was that decision? Because I know you had took some JUCO visits, kind of around the states, checking them out. I think one was Lakeland. I know you had some D2s talking to you, JUCOs, NAIAs. Kind of tell me about some of the other schools that were talking to you in that process, and what kind of ultimately made you choose strength and motion and take those talents to Texas.
Yes, sir. It was definitely a very difficult decision. I didn't make it in a day or 2 days. It definitely took me a while to make that decision. I have some Vincent's, Lakeland, Baltimore. I was going to go to a workout at Vincent's. Definitely went to a few visits before deciding where I wanted to go. What ultimately helped me decide is I had Division 2, Division 1 interest, Division 2 offers, Division 3 offers, NAI offers. Division 1s are Eastern Kentucky, WKU, Bellarmine, Oregon, Mississippi State, and St. Francis. But ultimately, for me, the big thing, what I was talking about early, is my eligibility. I'm a
Yeah.
17-year-old. You've seen this year all the 24, 25-year-olds, even people coming back for another year, are going to be almost 26 years old. If I went to college right now at a 4-year school, I would graduate college at 21 years old, which is not the best for me. I wouldn't even be fully developed by then. So immediately from there, we kind of bypassed D2, D3, and NAIA and looked strictly at JUCO and prep schools. I went to a few JUCO schools in Elgin and Lakeland. Those were the two JUCOs I visited. I really liked those schools. But ultimately, for me, it is really all just about slowing down. So even if I go to prep school, which I will be, I can still go JUCO another year. After prep school, I can still go JUCO. Um, so this was really just about slowing everything down and not rushing anything.
Well, Wade, I think you kind of say it perfectly, man. You kind of really hit on your eligibility and making sure you're able to grow and play until a certain age. You don't want to get in there too early and graduate at 21. You know, that just sounds crazy thinking about with today's modern version of college basketball. But I think you kind of preach about fit, you know, being in a spot that fits you and, you know, kind of fitting what your goal is. And I think a lot of athletes and guys close to committing sometimes forgets about that. But I think that's something good that you hit on a little bit, Wade. It's had its moments, the recruiting process for you, you know, with you obviously transitioning from Georgia now to Kentucky. You know, you've moved around a little bit. When you made that decision to come to Kentucky and leave Georgia, how did the recruiting process alter at all? We got some guys sometimes who leave states, maybe comes in from other countries, and maybe the recruiting process slows down or speeds up. How was it for you kind of transitioning from states?
For me, it was actually really good. I had a lot of interest in Georgia, but I mean, there it's kind of you can be a big fish in a big pond and still not get the offers you want in Georgia. There's a lot of talent. Um, so I moved up to Kentucky, and with my dad, we really hit it hard coming in, trying to reach out to all these schools. We spent a lot of time recruiting, researching, emailing. It took a lot of time, but we got the results we wanted from it. Um, Kentucky was a good state to do it. I got a lot of recognition quick, and from the people around me, and I got out to a lot of colleges quick.
Wait, I have to ask, man. You know, we've got guys who move in every once in a while. We got guys who transition states, and it's always fun to ask them, you know, what do you think the biggest difference was? You know, we got guys like Taylon Kinney, Jasper Johnson, Malachi Moreno, so many big time star recruits who's really making a name for themselves out of the state of Kentucky, which at one point Kentucky was really underrated for their talent, man, and what they had. Tell me about how the talent kind of changed when you came to Kentucky. Was the talent better or worse? But what was some differences you maybe seen?
Um, I did the talent in Kentucky was good, but it was very different in terms of athleticism.
Yeah.
Um, and where I played in Atlanta, it was a bunch of ISO ball, 5 out. People were just lobs and stuff like that. But then when I got to, and we played with a shot clock, which changes everything,
Yeah.
speeds the game up a lot more. But then when I went to Kentucky, the game slowed down a lot. Teams run zone more, no shot clock, so anybody can hold the ball. People play more as a team, so I gotta say I did learn how to play the game more, how to move without the ball, go set screens, not just spacing and let somebody ISO and sit there and spot up. So I definitely learned how to play more. The talent was good. We had a tough schedule, but I feel like we competed for sure.
That was one thing I wanted to mention. You know, to some, Holy Cross wasn't a big time name in Louisville that was constantly buzzing. You know, it's hard for anybody to really buzz this season with the way St. X kind of dominated that talent. But kind of tell me about how your experience was at Holy Cross, you know, playing for a pretty consensus guy that many people have respect for and love his coaching, and Coach Mark, and, you know, some of the talent guys like George Jackson around you. You guys were a killer duo all year, especially in the 6th region. But how was that lone season at Holy Cross, man? And what was some of your favorite moments?
I went into Holy Cross, even though we did not win and I wanted to win. I went into Holy Cross not expecting to get a state championship, as bad as that sounds. We had a lot of freshmen. We had mostly freshmen, a sophomore, and then one junior and one senior. So we were a super young team. But we did compete. I do gotta say we did compete. The 6th region was really difficult this year. You had teams like Butler and PRP. J-Town.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult this year, but we for sure competed, very physical, dog-on-dog style of ball. I wanted to get Fairdale that second time, but kind of fell short. We had him. But Lieberman, great coach, great dude in general. Can't complain about him at all. We had ups and downs for sure. When I got there, I didn't touch a basketball for the first 4 practices.
Mm-hmm.
He literally just put me on the best guard and said, "You gotta. If he goes middle, we're restarting the play. If he goes baseline, we're restarting the play. If you let him have too much to shoot, we got to restart the play." Lieberman's kind of there for you, ups and downs. We had a lot of ups and downs in the year, but I gotta say he's in my corner 100%, and that was for any player on the team. One of the smartest dudes I know. Some of the plays he drew up in the game were crazy. I didn't even think about basketball that way. I came to Kentucky to learn how to play the game more, and he taught us that practices and film sessions, we could have went over 2 minutes of game film, and it could have taken us 2 hours.
Yeah.
Practices were slow, and it was attention to detail. He didn't want anybody to practice anything wrong, so everything was attention to detail, how your body was supposed to be turned, if you were supposed to be stunning and swiping and help defense, different plays. And the plays were not like, you're going to come here and get this set play, be a robot, come here, set a down screen. It was he put us into a motion to score, so that anything could translate to the next level. He didn't want any over dribbling or anything like that. He wants everything he does. And he doesn't care if you're a freshman, you're not going to college for the next 4 years. He wants you to learn your game to transfer to college. So limited dribbles and just playing the game the right way.
For sure. And, I've talked to some people. Unfortunately, I've not had Coach Mark on here yet. I'm not sure what his future is. That'll be really interesting to see. I'm sure he's not done, but I know right now he's not really with the position. But that's a guy I'd love to talk to, man. He's super smart, but he really seems like a great coach, especially with his experiences. Gabe, right now it's all about AAU. With you being, technically an unsigned senior or some you're not, you still know where you're going on and what you're going to pursue, but you're playing AAU basketball. I want you to talk about who you're playing with, what's the circuit you guys are on, and how it's been so far. We've got through maybe a week or two of AAU. I know some people take that second week off, but kind of tell us how AAU's been so far, who you're running it with, and where we can catch Wade Kramer playing next.
I'm with 502 Elite based in Louisville. We are playing on the Adidas Gold Circuit. Our first weekend, we played in the tune-up tournament and went 4-0. And then the next weekend, we went to Kansas City and went 4-0 to reach us in the leaderboard on the Adidas 3SSB. We are playing in Grassroots this weekend. It's a big tournament we're getting ready for. We play in Rock Hill, California, New Jersey, Nebraska. So we have a pretty stacked schedule. I like the team this year. We can all run. I expect some big things out of me and this team.
For sure, man. And I'm excited to hopefully be able to check you guys out soon, man. Going 8-0 is not easy, on any circuit, especially Adidas Gold. But Wade, it's really been a lot of fun talking to you today, man. Talking about all the questions we had and wanting to hit on all these topics. I know your family's tuning in, and some of the Holy Cross people's tuning in, and maybe some people down in Texas could be tuning in, seeing Wade. Wade, talk to us. Give us one kind of last thing for those tuning in, and, kind of show some love to those who have supported you all the way through and made these decisions with you.
Yes, sir. I can't say this enough. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. I can't do it without everybody. They've shown me love from day one. No matter if I'm scoring 30 opening game or had a little drought throughout the season, everybody's shown love, from coaches, teammates, new coaches, family, throwing me love throughout the whole season. So I just appreciate it.
Wade, once again, man, I appreciate you coming on here tonight. It was good to see you. I think it's probably been since about last November when it was the event up at Fairdale the last time I got to see you, man. So it was really good seeing you, man. Glad to have you hop on the show and talk and kind of address, what your decisions was you made this recent season, and just kind of talked about all things Wade Kramer. Wade, I appreciate you coming on here, man.
Yes, sir. Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
You too. I'll talk to you again soon. That was Wade Kramer, formerly at Holy Cross, now pursuing his career at Strength and Motion in Texas, George Gervin Prep Academy. It's going to be big time, man. That's a big decision to make, really moving up the ranks for Wade. It's going to be a lot of fun with him coming into Kentucky this year. A lot of people didn't know his name. You can ask his dad, Scott, when he kind of sent me those messages, got in contact with me. I made sure to post about him, get him out there, and I was excited to see what Wade had, and man, he really shocked me, and he improved throughout the season, man. I think he had a really good first year here in Kentucky, coming up from Georgia, like he said, whole different play style. But, man, he adjusted. He played well. He really got his name out there, and now he's going to be able to pursue that prep school option and really kind of show his full game. Our next guest, man, is a guy I got to see this past 2 weekends ago. Play basketball for the first time with Midwest Basketball Club, man. He was killing it. Andrew Martin at Midwest Basketball Club had hyped him up to me a little bit, told me who he was and how good he was as a player. I looked into him a little bit, and I really enjoyed getting to see him and talk to him the time up there. I knew I had to get him on the show and be a guest, and that's Alex Smith from Columbus, Ohio, man. Let's welcome Alex onto the show. Alex, what's up, man? How you been?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
It's been good, man. AAU basketball has been full throttle, dude. It's been everything everybody's talking about. It's the 3SSB circuit. It's always the hottest, biggest topic. 3SSB and EYBL will always be buzzing. And Midwest Basketball Club has been, if not the best through the first 2 weeks, maybe one of the top 3 best teams so far with your guys' 4-0 start at Midwest Mania and the noise you all have been making. Tell me a little bit, Alex, about your role with Midwest Basketball Club, how long you've been there. What do you think is kind of attributed to some of that success?
Yeah, I mean, at Midwest Basketball Club, everyone plays a role. It's not like we got one dude who's scoring everything and everyone else is there to like play around that guy. It's everyone's like everyone's a team, you know. Everyone does everything. I mean, I can score, I can pass. I mean, dudes like Reese and Gavin score, pass, rebound. It's kind of just like a team effort. And I've been playing with Midwest for a while, since kind of my 8th grade year. So it's kind of just been like the same thing throughout since 8th grade. And I think it's really helped me improve tremendously.
Gavin kind of described it Tuesday. We talked to Gavin. We've had a lot of Midwest in the house recently. Gavin kind of talked about it being like one big family, one big bond. You guys all kind of get together all the time. You guys are good friends off the floor, and it all kind of clicks on the floor. So I think it's really dope to see, man. Alex, like I said, we're based in Kentucky, so some people might not know who Alex Smith is, but Alex Smith is an Ohio State commit. You're a junior right now. Next year will be your senior season, but this is your last season of AAU, so I know this one hits hard a little bit. But Alex, kind of tell us who Alex Smith is. Introduce yourself to those who might not know you, like I said, and what makes your game special, because I got to see some of it this past weekend, but like I said, some people in Kentucky might not see you yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of just like a hard grit guy, willing to do it all for my team. You need me to do one thing, I'll do it for you. You need me to do the other thing, I'll do it for you. I mean, whatever coach tells me to do, whatever I need to do to win, that's kind of just who I am. And I just put my head down and work for that stuff.
Well, Alex, I mean, you kind of got to talk about it, man. For some people, it's considered early. You committed to Ohio State, which I know has got to be a big deal for you, man. I want to talk about that first. How was the decisions picking where you went on to play your high school career? Because when I look at 24/7, had offers from Bowling Green, Bryant, Cincinnati, Indiana, so multiple high major schools up there, lots of schools in contact and talking to you, but ultimately you picked Ohio State. What was it? Was it being maybe close to home with you being from Ohio? Did you grow up a big Ohio State fan? What made you choose Ohio State and play for Coach Diebler?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say it was just one thing. It was a collage of many things. I mean, obviously it's great to be close to home. I live 10 minutes from campus, so it's not a very far drive for my parents when I'll be there and go play there. And then the coaching staff is just great, supportive, very supportive, always reaching out. And last year when I played on the circuit, they always had a coach there, which is, I mean, it's my sophomore year AAU, and they're sending a coach to every game. Like, I mean, they could be sending the coach to go watch some 4 or 5-star dude on 17U who they're trying to get, or they can send a dude, send a coach to come watch me in 16U AAU, and that kind of just stuck out. And then, I mean, I made a decision really early, but not a lot of people realize like I've had this relationship with Ohio State for a while. A lot of people, June 15th hits, and that's when you kind of start making your relationship with these colleges. They reached out in June the year before that, so I already had a whole year under my belt with a relationship with them. And it's kind of just like, by the time that year hits, this upcoming year, I mean, that would be my 2 years with Ohio State. And it's kind of just like showing that they've been, reaching out. They've been building a relationship for me for a while. And it's kind of like I'm going to choose that team that really cared for me when, I wasn't the best, or when I was really young. They always saw something in me and they always believed in me. And that's just something I really value.
For sure, Alex. One thing that sucks, man, we've not got to have Coach Diebler or anybody at Ohio State hop on the show yet, so we've not got to talk to them a lot. But, what kind of attracted you from the coaches? Was it, their intensity, their integrity, how they coached, with Coach Diebler taking over last season, as the head coach, had a really good tenure. He had a good this past season and really got things going and getting Ohio State back on the map. Tell us a little bit about head coach and some of the conversations you got to have about him. How do you feel about Coach Jake? And then all around just the coaching staff and the guys they have around like Coach Joel.
Yeah, first, I'll just say that they don't recruit based off talent. They recruit based off talent and personality. So it's not just a talent thing. It's kind of like a who you are type person, because you don't want anyone on your team that's going to, break that chemistry up. So that's kind of one thing that they recruited me on. And one thing Coach Diebler really likes about me is just how I can stretch the floor with my shot. I'm, 6'9", versatile wing who can shoot the ball, from left wing, right wing, corner, top of the key, wherever you want me to shoot it from, I'll shoot it from. And someone who can just, get us into some motion, get us into some offense, and kind of just like an all around player. And then, yeah, I mean, Coach Diebler and Coach Justice are great people. They're just, family to me. They've always been family to me, always reaching out, always calling. And I just couldn't ask for more.
For sure, Alex, I kind of talk about AAU so much, man, and pursuing that, next level. And it's hard things not to talk about a little bit, but tell me a little bit about your high school career, man, where you're running it in Ohio, how your past recent season was. Things are obviously different in every state, so you kind of got to check in and ask that question. But kind of tell me where you're at in high school, in Ohio, kind of how your guys' season was.
Yeah, I'm at Upper Arlington, which is, pretty much dead center in the middle of Columbus. It's a little suburb. Our season went, it went all right. We played the fourth toughest schedule in the state, and our conference was like the first. We had 6 teams in our conference that we played twice a year, and their schedules was like 1, 2. We were 4. There's 6. There's 8, all on the state. So that kind of just shows you the competition that we play every year. It's always the best of the best, and they also play the best of the best, so they're always prepared for us. And so we played a really tough schedule, good competition. I think we went 14-10 ending the season, which it doesn't sound that great, but we had a couple of close losses that we should have won, and just games that we didn't squeak out. And for the most part, we had kind of a younger team. So I'm really excited for next year to see, what's to come. And, we've been already started our workouts a couple weeks ago, and, everyone's working hard. So I'm really excited for this group of guys upcoming this year.
For sure. No, being in Kentucky, we have a lot of talent recently. It's really been picking up compared to, previous seasons. And we love to talk about our top guys and guys that make our state special. But Ohio is no slouch at all, man. I know a good scout up there, Coach Michael Roth. And, Michael's put out some lists about top guys, and you kind of see how talented Ohio is, especially in your class. Yourself, Anthony Thompson, Marcus Johnson, TJ Crumble, Julian Washington, who we talked about before the show, how good he was these past 2 weeks. So you kind of see just how good and how loaded the state of Ohio is. Kind of tell me about the scenery of Ohio. How is the game play? Is it physical, filled with athletes? Is it more X and O type ball? Some of those other top guys that you think are some of the better players in Ohio, and kind of what makes that state special for what they got.
Yeah, I think Ohio ball is just, first off, really underrated. Like, a lot of people talk about, players, like you look at Ohio, not a ton of people ranked deep into the rankings, or not a lot of people ranked. But when you talk about Ohio, it's just really underrated. There's good players everywhere, no matter what school you pretty much go to. And it's just tough competition every game. People don't realize, like, Ohio basketball is Ohio basketball. Like, it's tough basketball. It's not like Pennsylvania basketball. No diss on Pennsylvania or anything, but it's definitely tough. And I think it's a lot of like Kentucky. You play these tough physical teams every week. They always got a scouting report for you.
Yeah.
The guys on the team. Like, it's very similar to Kentucky, in my opinion. It's a lot of, motion basketball, guard a lot of sets. You got to be locked in like every game.
For sure, man. We got to talk about Coach Diebler one last time. We've talked about Coach a lot, but Coach played at Valparaiso. I'm sure you know about that, and he was a little bit of hooper himself. I think his last season there, he averaged about 8 points, and he could shoot the ball, man. Will we be seeing an Alex Smith versus Coach Diebler 1v1 anyway on the soon? Have you guys kind of matched up a little bit on the floor yet?
Haven't matched up yet, but I'll definitely be on his butt to get that 1v1 down when I get there.
That'll have to be something that makes the Instagram, man. I don't know the guys who run the Ohio State, fan pages or maybe even the main page, but that would be a great little matchup I'd like to see. Marcus Johnson is a junior as well, going into his senior season. He's committed to Ohio State as well. Ohio State, man, done a really good job of getting 2 early commits, man. You can really tell they're working hard and getting those fit guys, like you said. Tell us a little bit about Marcus. Have you got to talk to Marcus a lot at all? Do you know him very well? Have you guys maybe reflected a little bit about making your decisions? Tell us about your future teammate in Ohio State.
Yeah, I've gotten to talk to Marcus a little bit and build a relationship with him ever since I committed, and actually a little bit before I committed. He texted me, he was like, "Bro, you gonna commit?" And I was just like, "We'll see." So I've known Marcus for a little bit, and he's just a great guy. Good kid, good hooper. Just puts his head down and works. Just a great dude, and you can sit around that guy and you can talk for days, and he's just always someone you want to be around and put yourself around, because he's always got the best interest for you, and you always got the best interest for him.
Alex, I'm going to be honest with you, man. A lot of Ohio State fans obviously tuned in tonight. I made sure to tag all the people, and I'm sure that's something they love to hear, getting to hear from their recruits and guys who will be joining. They still got to wait another year, so I don't get too impatient. I know they'll be waiting on that, but, man, that's going to be really cool to see you guys take the floor together and see how that pans out. I think that's a great way to start your recruiting class in the 2026. If you're Ohio State, you got a little bit of leverage above anybody else right now with 2 early commits. But, Alex, man, it's been really good having you on here, man. I want to ask you one last final question. It'll kind of roll into the outro. Where will we be seeing Midwest Basketball Club next? Where will you guys be playing next? And then after that, kind of thank everybody for tuning in and watching the show tonight, and show some love to your family and those who might be tuning in around you.
Yeah. You'll be seeing Midwest next, actually in Columbus, so right in my hometown. And just shout out to, Buckeye Nation and everyone who tuned in, and my family and just my friends and just everybody who helped me get me to where I am now. And I really appreciate all of you.
Alex, it was a lot of fun having you on here, man. I'm sure we'll probably talk again in the next year and a half, catching you at events, and then have to get you on the show again, man, closer to time going to Ohio State. But, Alex, it's been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll talk again soon.
For sure. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Talk to you soon. That was Alex Smith of Columbus, Ohio, Upper Arlington High School, Ohio State commit, 2026, 6'9" forward. A lot of things to describe Alex Smith. He's a great player, man. Got to see him for my first time about 2 weeks ago at Hamilton, Ohio. They're kind of playing a little bit of an Ohio schedule right now at Midwest, but no, he was a great player, man. He was really energetic. The guys around him, Gavin Lightning, Reese Davidson, other players, James Clark, Kai McGrew, guys who play in the 3SSB at Midwest with him, really big fans of him and his game, love playing with him, and really, only had good things to say about him. So I got to reach out to Alex, talk to him a little bit. Man, it was really fun to have him on tonight and kind of touch base about how his recruitment had went, what ultimately led him up to Ohio State, some of his family support, friend support he mentioned at the end. We got to see the Coach Diebler 1v1. I think that'd be really cool to see. There's a little bit of a height disadvantage for Jake a little bit, but, man, that'd be a fun 1v1 to see. Ohio State Buckeyes fans, you guys got a great one. It was really good to talk to Alex tonight, man. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to the Joe Show tonight, man. I'm your host, Joseph Decker. God bless. Enjoy our next episode. We got one coming up Sunday night. I'm really excited for it. Anybody in Kentucky is going to know this guy, former Kentucky basketball player, and he's got a new position. He's got a new job that I think a lot of people are really excited to see him at and what he does with it. We'll talk about it Saturday. We'll kind of start posting and promoting it. I want to appreciate everybody hopping on the show tonight. It meant a lot for all the support recently. Been your host,